The White Lotus, Series 3, Episode 7, titled Killer Instincts. And this episode, of course, is the second and last episode of Season 3. And what I will say here is this episode is now hitting the point where conflict is happening. You know, the three girls are having disagreements. You know, character arcs are shifting. You know, Saxon, who is, from episode 1 was all this, horny level guy who all he wanted was to get laid and do drugs. Actually, not drugs, but get drunk and get laid, pretty much. That's all he wanted to do on his vacation in Thailand. But then you find out, he has changed. He has shifted himself. He has a different way of life. We see different layers. He's like onion. Onions have layers. You're like, oh dear, it's all great. And meanwhile you have humor in it. Lauren sleeping with, Lori sleeping with one of the Russian dudes. And it's like, it's all great, it's all wonderful, even though it was kind of weird that after sex, he was like, can you give me some cash? It's like, weird. But the humor moment is, here comes the ex, here comes the other woman, here comes the other girl, and that I couldn't help but laugh a little bit. That, like a 40, 50-year-old woman is like doing some teenage level shit of climbing out of the windowsill, just trying not to get caught. I couldn't help but laugh over that. And of course, the other girl is finds out and slaps across, slapping her across the head. You're like, Jesus, what's going on? There's humor in this episode. There's humor in it that I couldn't help but laugh over. But let's start with the girls. So let's start with Kate, Jacqueline, and Lori. This is clearly a situation where someone has enough of the bullshit. Lori is now a person who is like, look, we all have our flaws. Just admit it. We have flaws, and this is your flaw, Jacqueline, and this is your flaw, Kate. Let's just accept it. And I want to have fun. Let's go to that UFC fight. No? Well, I'm going to go by myself, and I might screw one of the guys. That is the character shift, because in Lori, in the first episode, you can kind of tell that she is believes she might have been wasting her life, that she had the boring life, and she wants some excitement in there, but now she's having that excitement, night clubbing and getting drunk in the pool and UFC fights and being the person that the guy's cheating on, being the other girl. There's a level of excitement in her life, and I can understand the pushback from Kate and Jacqueline, because one thing is, we all know we all know we're not perfect, even though the people who want to pretend they're perfect, we all know that we're not perfect. But at the end of the day, we kind of like people pointing them out. And even for Jacqueline's case, she's a star. She's is dealing with people constantly talking shit about her. If it is true or not. To the point she just wants peace. She just wants zenness toward it. And, naturally, I want to say the zenness to it, but I could also say that she kind of wants to still be young. It's the old actress thing. It's the old, hey, the moment you're 40, the moment you're 50, you might be out of a job just because you just naturally age. And, so she's kind of making herself saying, like, hey, we can do all these young things. And it does feel like Lori is now Jacqueline and Jacqueline is now Lori. And how they were at the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the season. That's what it feels like. Now, with the other characters, like, look, there's a level of maturity that Sax is having at this point that maybe he realizes the parting isn't like, maybe, that one party that makes you go, I'm over this. I don't want to do this anymore. Maybe it has to do with, incesting and have my unknowingly having my brother jacking me off, but maybe it has something to do with that. But I want to no longer do parties. I actually want a connection. I want to mature, and even throwing something so crazy out there with the concept of was it Sam? No, Sam. The mole girl, throwing the concept of, hey, we can bone. It's just, Greg has a thing for washing. He wants to watch us having sex. He's like, he's a creep. What the hell? Moving on. And you're thinking, wow, that's a level of maturity. One situation that flips him over and makes him like, because I wouldn't be shocked that, episode one Saxon would be totally on board with it. Because all he sees is like, oh, I get to have sex with a woman. Oh, he watches, who cares? It's like a threesome without another person, without having someone else, joining in. So there's a lot of maturity, how he wants to be spiritual. We have Chelsea, and, sure, there was a little bit humor where, the two of them are being very spiritual and trying to be connected, and, Saxon thinking he's going to her, and Chelsea's like, okay, here's some books, leave now. I need to call Rick. And it just feel, it shows character growth. It's showing the character growth. We also have a couple of reveals. Like, one reveal is, like, when episode 2 happened, I was like, what's the point of the bank robbery? Doesn't feel it's needed. Felt like just stuff is happening for the sake of stuff is happening. And in reality, it was a sense of patience, my friend. Because we found out that the Russian guys that the girls have been seeing have been are the robbers. They are the bank robbers. And you just go, okay, that's a big shocker. Maybe one of the Russians gets killed. Maybe. That's by next week. Maybe. We don't know. Because here's the thing, they really are having home the context of the concept, that of Timothy killing his family. Because, multiple gunshots. And now they're giving us a situation where could the number of gunshots be? The number of gunshots could not be Timothy killing his family. It could be the bodyguard, stopping the robbery. That could be it. It could easily be, it's his chance in his mind to be a hero, to, prove himself. Because at this date, the girl he likes, she's like, I was thinking you're a little bit more of a business. Like, I thought you didn't. Like, clearly she loves someone with goals. She likes to be with someone who is happy where they are, maybe a couple of years, but can think about what's the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years look like. Even if it's so far-fetched, what is that goal? And, he's like, he's zen. He's like, I'm fine. I'll probably be where I am. Which in my head, I'm thinking, if you don't want to deal with, like, assholes, why don't you just work at the desk? That could be a little bit more suitable, right? Anyway. But I'm at this point thinking, it might be the Russians. It might be the Russians, and who killed him is the guy that you least suspect does it. Because who has the gun now? Who has the gun now? And it's not Timmy anymore. Wick has a gun, but he's over in Bangkok. So it has to be. I think it has to be him. I think I figured it out. I figured it out. I have done my detective clues. I have done my detective work and all that. Anyway, so the other storyline to talk about is Wick. That Wick in this episode, this whole season, he is up for revenge. He wants to go to Bangkok because the guy who killed his father is there. Took me a while to realize that was Stock Glenn. I was like, Stick! It took me a while. It took me 10 minutes to realize, oh, that's Stick for Daredevil. But Wick's there. Yeah, he's now face to face with his killer. And I feel like his father's killer. And it's kind of showing, you know what this episode basically is? This episode basically is about people who want something at the beginning and realizing maybe that's not what they really want. Like, Wick wanted to kill the father of the killer of his father. In reality, he didn't do that. He may have wanted to, but he didn't want to at the end of it. Saxon wanted to be the playboy. He wanted to be the bachelor who would get laid every day, or would get drunk on the weekends and get laid. Now it feels like he doesn't want to do that anymore. The sister, is want to be part of Buddhism, but the moment her younger brother, gets on board with it and saying, "Hey, I want to be part of this too," she goes, "Oh, fine. Oh, this kind of stinks." So it kind of feels a sense of what you want and what you actually, it's like what you think you want, what actually you want. Yeah. And the theme, I feel like, will merge into next week's episode. And it's, one more episode to go. We got 1 more hour left. So, we will find out who's dead in the water. Do I think it's Greg? No, I don't think so. I think what Greg's saying is kind of true. I think what it is a lot of people just linked him to the murder of his wife. And we saw season 2. She just fell off overboard. But saw the death of his wife. And he just wanted to leave. He's dealing with so much crap. He just wanted to live a new life. But because we're giving the cynicism, the steady music, him looking very sinister, make us believe that he might be up for something. But I like this episode. Like it. When I was curious how long we had left, I was like, oh crap, just 5 more minutes. So clearly I was invested with it. But I had to say, Frank, if you're going to pretend that you are a film director, you would think you would do some homework, would you not? But apparently it worked. Anyway, comment below, let me know your thoughts of this episode.